protesting about how university is organized. What we will say that the knowledge comes from the community, empowering citizens through progressive knowledge and perspective. I had proposed a theme of developing organic intellectual from the community. And I think this is what you really captured on this, because I think the being in the community, you embed yourself and you emerge from there. And I think also with the Shiraz about the history of resistance and documentation is very important. But how do you create what you have said, a new community intellectuals?
I first of all asked, who is the audience? And I was told it's people from the university, it's activists, it's community members, it's so on and so forth. And this is a knowledge sharing space, right? So Shiraz came and shared history. The assignment from that would then to be with the material that he shared, to go out, everyone to go out and go read more about that. Remember, I also shared names of people here on purpose, so that maybe you can go and read about them, and maybe join what Umkamba Library, what's the library's name? Umkombo's library meets in town, right? And I saw a beautiful library there. And I imagine that there is a sharing there of information. And not everybody who goes there is going to varsity. So already that is happening here. So, but I'd also like to emphasize is, don't look down upon what's happening, what you guys are doing, because this is very important. In my community, I've even copied this, that I'm going to do this, because I don't know whether it's been done. That I, who is busy with a PhD at a university and is a researcher, I don't hold meetings like this in any community. Shame on me. I should be doing this, because some of the youth in my community don't have the means to go get a formal education. They don't have the means. But I've got friends that we can all come and share like this. So this is already happening here. So what I would say is that just strengthen it, take it seriously, invite more people, maybe do it in other spaces as well, and coordinate it. Organize, you are doing it. Educate, you are doing it. Liberate, you are in the process.
Yes.
So you are in the right direction.
Now that there's the Ukombozi library and these other materials that you're collecting, have you established yourselves online, or what are your thoughts on having a virtual library where we can get some of this stuff and share it with the other communities?
Library is not a government-run library. It is the responsibility of social libraries, which are paid by taxpayers, to collect materials. So there is a Kenyan National Library Service which should be doing that. I don't know what they have, but what I know is what we have collected at the Ukombozi Library. Some of it is not even available at the university library. So this is an initiative from a few individuals and a few organizations, and it's just a recent movement. So we need to develop it further. So our point is that there should be 1 million or 1,000 Ukombozi libraries, and this is start of the process.
Our focus is just progressive, maybe progressive literatures, both video, also video, and also books. No. Maybe other members other members of the. The other thing maybe I can add is that we also want to maybe to decentralize Ukombozi, and we have started with I think the Dora Social Justice Center and also Madhari Social Justice Center, if you're a member, whereby the members, Madhari Social Justice Center, being a member, can borrow maybe at least 5 books and then return them after 2 months. I think recently the Dora Social Justice Center kind of borrowed about 5 or so books, and that is what we are trying to do as a Kombozi Library.
One of the things the Vita Books has done is start a magazine called the Kenya Socialist. It is available free of charge on the Vita Books website. You can read it there. We were trying to sort of get a print copy also, but it's rather expensive at the moment. People can order it through African Book Collective in UK, but it's freely available online. As far as books are concerned, there is a list here of the books that we have published. Some earlier ones were available online free, but now they are just available in print.
Through the dialogues, people got to know that police are killing young boys, and yeah. In Mathare, most of them, they are boys. So, and the also importance of documenting these cases.
So I think that is a very important step. Otherwise, these killings were going on, not documented, not raising issues at a national level. Secondly, I think it is a political struggle. It's not just a human rights struggle. So in order to address this, I think the next move, I'm not sure to what extent it's happening, but should be to make it a big political issue at a national level. And maybe that is the next way forward.
The police say they were running, they were being chased because they were smoking marijuana, you know. Or maybe they've been accused of mugging or that kind of thing. So it was normal. It was normal, and so many parents had a lot of trauma. So when we started the community dialogue that Njerish is talking about, so when he said let's have a community dialogue, and we didn't say only about extrajudicial killing, because we were trying to link land grabbing, lack of social hall, poverty, drugs as a part of the big problem that's causing this criminalization of young people. So we said we are doing community dialogue on land grabbing and extrajudicial killing. But a huge audience came, and they came, and also we told them to come with a photo. So you had like 5, 6 people with photos. So we asked ourselves, what do you do? Then we did another dialogue. Then we had like 60 cases. Then we started taking the cases to Independent Police Oversight Authority. They gave us a file, and now there are a number of cases that are going on, and maybe Mama Rahma and others, maybe they can explain what we are doing. But then, why we want to take this to second level, and Shiraz has put it very clearly, and this is not a human right issue. The violence, what you have said, what signifies this violence? This violence manifests what? That's what we have not been able to grasp as even all the centers. I'm sure many of the centers are doing that. Dandora are doing that. They had a lot of challenges. But we have, even Kayole, and there are more younger women who have been involved, and they can share about that. But what we have not been able to clearly put there is what she said. What manifests? What is this? Is it only a human rights violation only, or is it a bigger problem of a crisis of political violence and the history that we are coming from?
Yes, life is political. Everything about life is political. We cannot run away from that. Politics is also attached to economy, right? Mm-hmm. So if people are being oppressed, and you are saying that it is because of a capitalist system, it means that there is economy attached to that. Why are some people living on the other part of town and other people are not living in the other part of town, but the people who are living in the oppressed part of town are the ones who are being killed? What is going on with that? That's true. Right? what does that have got, what is that saying about belonging? Belonging in this space, belonging in Kenya, belonging as a human being in the world. What does it say about it? And then attached to belonging, what does it say about identity? So I'm very happy that there have been dialogues happening about this, because voice is important. And most times when people are being oppressed, their voice is taken away from them. But I would like to urge you to not lose your voice. And I would like to congratulate you for not remaining silent, because it is in the silence that we die.
Yes.
And I don't mean a physical death. I mean the humane death. So I would urge you to think about this issue in terms of the political struggle. Think about this in terms of the economic struggle, issues of belonging, and issues of identity. And then outside of this space, and then in the different corners, with your leaders here, who have the tools to think critically about things and to analyze things, that dissect it further as you are trying to find a solution.
It is not appropriate to think of boys or men being stronger than women so that they are more powerful or they can go to war. The point is that these days a gun can be fired by a man as well as a woman. It doesn't take super animal strength to pull a trigger. So it is not appropriate to think that men or boys are more important in the defense of a country, for instance, as you suggested. In the case of, say, Mau Mau, there were many women activists, and we saw an example last week when we went to this meeting about a woman activist in Mau Mau, and women were more physically, they were quite okay in fighting in the forest, but I think in many cases they were mentally even better than men in terms of persistence and putting up with things like torture even. They tortured much more in a worse way than men are, and yet they survive and they emerge from it. So I think this question of equality needs to be revisited.
What could be the reasons why boys are targeted more over girls? And I'm asking us to think about that, thinking based on our context here. And
Targeted by who, sorry?
Police. The police, yes. So I'm saying, I first of all said, I'm very much aware, cognizant of the role that women fighters have fought in the struggle, even in my own country. And I could consider myself also as an instrumental woman of power, right? But I'm saying, bringing it back to what's happening right now with the boys being killed, boys not only being killed, but targeted. I'm saying, let's think about what are the reasons why they are targeted. If we can understand the reasons, right? When you have an opponent, you don't only think about what you want to do, but you must also start thinking about what are their motives.
So from our cultures comes the norm that men are seen as defenders of the community. They defend the woman, they defend the family, they are the breadwinners. So majorly destroying the boy child comes with the society being weakened because there's no male representative to actually protect them. So that's why you get many more men being killed by the police and these issues going away without people getting justice.
The statistic which says how many boys and girls are killed, that would be a good statistics because they could be hidden, the facts of girls being killed as well. But just to respond to the question as well, is to say that the patriarchal and the masculine traditions, but also the cultural outlooks that we have in Africa and even in Kenya, makes the boy child stand out easily, definitely makes the boy child stand out easily than more than girls. And when you stand out easily, you stand out in terms of livelihoods, in terms of looking for ways, because the traditions have made you to be this, and the culture of being able to be this. If you're outgoing, you're much more outgoing, easily and acceptable in the eyes of the community, even much more than girls. So when you stand out such easily, due to all those factors we are saying, that the police will definitely see you as you stand out for you. And that's why you see them, they are easily picked even by the killings. It also happens that what question we have been talking about all over is the activist girls are few in all our movements when you compare it with boys.
Why boy child? And I think a lot has been said by Njuki, which I endorse, and also Shiraz. But also looking in terms of the body politics, I'm trying to look on another angle. Body politics in terms of also looking the narrative of Pan-Africanism, maybe the issue of production, like when it comes, for example, to issue of who produces the sperms, who gives the eggs and everything. And you can see on this why, like when we ask why, as much as also we have our own also choices of body politics, there's that notion when it comes to deciding when to have kids and not, and with the patriarchal system, is that maybe our own government see the only way to also eliminate population is also by killing the young men, but also killing also, like what Njuki said also, young women are being killed also when you look in terms of like unsafe abortion. Now comes back to the issue of politics of body. And you could see here on unsafe abortion, men are not dying, but you see women are dying also whereby the state has failed to take responsibility of making it accessible. So I think also we need to be very careful when we see the power goes to men that are being targeted, where also in reality I know so there has been also cases in even our society and community here and some informal settlement whereby women are also targeted and being killed by police, but their cases have never been amplified or have not been put forward in a manner whereby also people can also be able to champion, but also comes back to the belief also who leads all this conversation. Do we give also women to air out, like for example, how many women have been dying like through the hands of the police or also because of unsafe abortion? So we have to analyze the way you said, which is very critical. Why target women, and also why at the same time why target young men? And also looking at different attributes. All this, if you ask me, is state-created. And also, for example, looking in terms, who produces the arms, the issue of militarization? Who benefits when our young people are being killed? Is it our government or foreign governments? Or is it like something stage-managed? Such that if you ask me with the kind, I don't like also speaking this topic because I've been bringing me a lot of issues. But also in terms of also, we can't also keep silent. Why is it that we know or we have seen people killed, but at the same time, there's none of them that has been, like, it's only one case of the OCS. Was it in Kasarani? Yeah, but even in our community, why is it that we have these cases and the Justice Center have been able to take them forward, but no one, any police officer has been arrested because of these cases? And also, what's the role of society in this? What's the role of society in terms of also like saying this is our like collective struggle? Let's walk it through together, and not saying it's not my case, it's your case, or let's activists deal with it.
First of all, women or girls are victims of the police as well, but they are victims in a different way. They are probably raped and thrown out, which doesn't come into our statistics of killings. Last year when I came here, there was a person, I think her name was Beatrice. she runs, or if it's, I don't know about the name, but she runs a center around here somewhere, she said, where she trains girls who have been raped. And normally they would have no future at all. They can't go to school and all. She trains them in various skills. Now, these are all victims of the same police guys who rape them and then run away. They don't kill them, which is in a sense fortunate, but they suffer as much. The second part, I think that needs to be looked at is girls, because of social reasons and social conventions, have responsibilities at home, whether they have their own children or their siblings or somebody or other. So they are not out in the street as much as men are. And perhaps that is one reason why they don't get killed as much as men get killed. I don't know. I don't know what the statistics say about comparative kind of thing, but there are complex issues around them, and I think this sexual exploitation of women for sex needs to be brought into the equation as well.
Where I come from, women have owned a voice now. Where I come from, we don't have much of an issue anymore about women being acted out of service and so on. So I must then apologize for being out of context in that way. As I've said, I'm not from here. So, but this points to things that must be put in context here, and it can only be done by people here. Right? The answers are all here. Whether the expectation is on girls more than boys, whatever it is, whether the killings are happening to boys because they are outside of the home, it's also that maybe. But it's also maybe because of politics. For me, everything goes back to politics. Yeah, so,
social and culture.
yes, sir. Yeah.
Four factors.
Yeah. This man is very enlightened. Yes. He's very enlightened. So, yeah. So yeah, think deeper, think more, engage more, look at various things, come up with a strategy for here and follow it up. And again, I am the kind of person that speaks out on things quite easily, and I'm not afraid of being challenged on things. I'm gonna say it again now that most of the time we Africans are known for talking and no action. Most of the time. If you want to see change, if you want to see change, as much as we are talking, let's also be acting, right? Because, as you have said, there are deeper issues here with regards to, if you are looking at things based on a patriarchal system, which I think Kenya is, think about the significance of the violence enacted against boys in comparison to the violence enacted against girls.
Yeah, our fellow